It is nearly midnight. You walk into your bedroom with one very simple thought. Finally, you get to rest. But before you lie down, you have to lift your jacket off the chair. Move the laptop aside. Put the bag you left on the floor somewhere else. Plug in your phone next to your pillow. Then your eyes drift over to the small table where there is still a receipt, an old glass of water, and a few things you have not figured out where to put. The room is not exactly dirty, but it still gives you 5 more things to deal with before you are allowed to rest. And that may be why so many bedrooms do not actually make people feel mentally lighter. Not because they are lazy, not because they lack discipline, but because the bedroom has become the place where everything unfinished from the day gets stored. A chair becomes a temporary closet. One corner of a desk becomes an office. The bed becomes a place to watch movies, answer messages, check tomorrow's schedule, and then somehow try to sleep. A bedroom like that is doing too many jobs. In many homes inspired by Japanese approaches to organizing, bedrooms are often kept simpler, not to make them look prettier, but so that when you walk in, you do not have to keep making decisions. This video is not asking you to throw everything away, buy new furniture, or turn your bedroom into a perfectly minimalist space. We are simply going to look at 8 things that often take up space in the bedroom, then quietly take up your attention too. Some things should be moved out. Some things cannot disappear right away, but they need a smaller role. And at the end of this video, we will come back to one principle that determines whether a room is actually easier to maintain. If you want to build a more organized home without having to clean more often, subscribe to the channel. Here, we are not chasing a perfect home. We are building systems that make life at home feel lighter. The first thing is the pile of stuff you tell yourself, I will deal with that later. The chair covered in clothes, the shopping bag you have not opened, the items you need to return, the towel you just used, a box that has been sitting in the corner since last week, a few things from the living room that you brought in because, at the time, you did not know where else to put them. We usually look at these things and think the problem is that we are not trying hard enough. But look a little closer. A chair full of clothes does not usually happen because you do not know how to hang clothes up. It happens because the chair is more convenient than the closet. The closet may be too full, the hangers may be too high, the laundry basket may be too far away, or maybe you do not have a clear place for clothes that can still be worn one more time. That is not a personality problem. It is a problem with the path your things have to travel. When something does not have an easy landing place that is more convenient than a temporary spot, it will always choose the temporary spot. And the bedroom often becomes the place that receives all those things because it is the last room you walk into each day. You bring them in with the intention of dealing with them later. But later usually never comes because the next day starts before you get a chance to come back. One principle inspired by Japanese home organizations is this: do not force yourself to clean more. Make the right action easier than the wrong one. You do not need to deal with the entire chair tonight. Just create a simple exit route for the 3 types of things that usually show up there. A small basket for clothes that need to be washed, a hook or a hanging bar for clothes that can be worn again, and a tray or basket labeled for things that need to leave the room. You do not need to buy anything fancy. A basket you already have, a hook over the door, or a simple storage box is enough to get started. Every night, you do not need to clean the room. You only need to ask one question. Does this belong in the laundry, in the wear again spot, or outside the room? 3 choices, nothing more. A room that is easy to rest in should not constantly remind you of unfinished tasks. The second thing is the laptop, the desk, and everything else that makes your workday stay behind in the bedroom. Maybe you do not have another choice. You live in a small apartment. You work from home. You use your bedroom as an office because it is the only quiet place in the house. That is the reality for a lot of people. So the answer is not always to move the desk somewhere else. A more realistic answer is to create a ritual that ends the workday, even when the desk is still in the room. What makes you tired is not just the laptop. It is the feeling that the laptop is still holding a door open in your mind. An email you have not answered, a tab you have not closed, an idea you are afraid you will forget, a task you plan to do tomorrow morning, but now you feel guilty because you have not done it yet. The desk does not say anything, but it can still make the room feel like a place that has not been given permission to rest. Try a very small system, a 2-minute workday closing ritual. First, close the tabs you will not need tomorrow. Write down the single most important thing you need to do the next morning. Then put the laptop in a drawer, a laptop sleeve, a fabric box, or at the very least, turn the screen toward the wall and cover it with a light cloth. The goal is not to pretend that work has disappeared. The goal is to tell your brain, this has a place to return to tomorrow. You do not have to keep it open in the bedroom anymore. When you do not have a system for ending the workday, work will always find a way to follow you into your place of rest. It lives in the laptop. It lives in the little papers on your desk. And then it lives in your mind, even after the lights are off. A room that supports your life does not ask you to rely on willpower every night. It helps you create a clearer stopping point. The third thing is the phone next to your pillow, the small object that can bring the entire world back into your bed. Your phone is there for very reasonable reasons. It is your alarm clock. It is your communication tool. It is where you read a few lines before bed. It is your camera, calendar, music player, clock, work tool, family messages, and entertainment. One phone is doing the job of 10 different things. The problem is not that you have a phone. The problem is that it is sitting in a place where it can call you back into the whole world at any moment. You only meant to check the time. Then you see a message. You only meant to set an alarm. Then you notice an email. You only meant to watch one short video to relax. Then 15 minutes turns into 40 minutes, and your mind is full again of things that do not belong in this room at all. Not everyone needs to charge their phone outside the bedroom immediately. For many people, that is not realistic. You may need your phone because you have young children, older family members, an on-call job, or safety concerns. But you can still reduce its role. Try starting with a phone parking spot that is not on your nightstand. A small table on the other side of the room, a low shelf near the door, a charging station in the hallway, or simply a corner of a desk that you have to stand up to reach. The only thing that matters is that your phone is no longer within reach once you are lying down. That is not a strict rule. It is simply a way to create a little more distance between you and everything, trying to pull your attention away. You can also create a very simple version of intentional empty space right on your nightstand. Keep water, a bedside lamp if you need one, and a book you actually want to read. Everything else does not necessarily need to be there. Not because those things are bad, but because the place closest to your pillow should not be where tomorrow starts calling for you tonight. But even after you have moved away the temporary piles, closed the laptop, and placed your phone farther away, there are still things that can keep your brain alert without you even noticing. The fourth thing is the television, the tablet, or any second screen that is still glowing in the bedroom. There is nothing unusual about doing this. After a long day, you do not want to think anymore. You just want to get pulled into another story, so your mind can stop running for a while. But there is a small difference between relaxing and continuing to be stimulated. When a screen is still on, the room does not fully shift into rest mode. The light changes, the sound changes, the story changes, and your attention keeps getting pulled away, even when you are not really watching anymore. You do not need to take the television out of the room tomorrow. What matters more is creating a clear stopping point for it. Take a look at how you use it. Do you intentionally choose a movie Watch it and turn it off when it ends? Or do you turn on the television as background noise and let it run until you fall asleep? Do you set a clear limit for watching? Or do you usually let the algorithm decide the next episode, the next video, and the next story? A room that is easy to maintain usually has clear stopping points. There is a time when the lights go off. There is a time when the laptop closes. Clothes have a place to go, and screens need a way to say, that is enough for today. You can try a very gentle version of this for 7 nights. You do not need to get rid of the television. Just choose one show, one episode, or one specific amount of viewing time in advance. When it ends, turn off the screen before you are actually sleepy. Then replace the last 10 minutes with something that does not pull you forward into more. It could be a book. It could be soft music. It could be a warm shower. It could simply be lying in a room that is a little quieter. A space does not need to fill every empty moment for you to feel comfortable in it. The 5th thing often comes with screens. The numbers on a clock, a phone, or any light that makes you look at the time in the middle of the night. 2:14, 3:37, 4:51. They are only a few numbers. But the moment you see them, your mind starts doing the math. I only have 4 hours left. If I fall asleep now, I still have 3.5 hours. Tomorrow is definitely going to be exhausting. And within seconds, the room that was once quiet becomes a place where you are evaluating, predicting, and worrying. Not because clocks are bad, but because when you are lying in bed, you do not need one more thing forcing you to measure how well you are resting. Rest is not a test, but a glowing clock next to your pillow can make it feel that way. You can handle this with one simple change. Turn the clock toward the wall. Put your phone farther away. Use an alarm clock without an overly bright display if you need a separate device. Or create one small rule. Once you have set your alarm, do not check the time again. Tomorrow will arrive whether you look at the clock or not. You do not need to keep watch over it from your bed. The 6th thing is the open surfaces that always invite objects to land on them. Chairs, the foot of the bed, nightstands, corners of the floor, and even thick rugs that are hard to clean. A bedroom may not have a lot of stuff, but when every surface is holding something, the room can still feel crowded. Especially with thick rugs or lots of fabric on the floor, resetting the room often takes more effort, so things are more likely to stay there longer. The top of the nightstand becomes a place for old glasses of water, charging cables, skincare products, medicine, papers, headphones, unread books, and random things from your bag. The foot of the bed becomes a place for decorative pillows, extra folded blankets, and clean clothes that have not been put away. The floor becomes a place for bags, slippers, delivery boxes, workout gear, and return items. And then the idea of cleaning the room feels overwhelming because you are looking at 10 small problem areas all at once. One very useful principle is to avoid having too many open surfaces where objects can land, not by removing all your furniture, but by giving each surface a limit. The nightstand is allowed to hold only 3 things. The floor is allowed to hold furniture and slippers. The chair is not a place to store clothes. The desk is not a place for things you have not decided what to do with. You do not need to apply all of this at once. Choose the surface that drains you the most. Maybe it is the chair. Maybe it is the nightstand. Maybe it is the corner of the floor near the door. Then do not just clean it once. Decide on its new purpose. For example, if it is the nightstand, you can place a small tray there for only the things you truly need at night. Water, glasses, a book, and hand cream. Everything else needs another home. If it is the corner of the floor near the door, place an out-of-room basket there. Anything that does not belong in the bedroom goes into the basket first. Every morning or evening, you only need to carry that basket around the house once. The important thing is not to never put anything down. The important thing is not to leave something in the wrong place long enough for it to become a permanent part of the room. In your bedroom, what is the thing that keeps coming back most often? clothes on the chair, your phone next to your pillow, work items, or random things that you do not know where to put? Leave one word in the comments. Not to blame yourself, just to name the biggest source of friction in your room. Because once you can clearly see what keeps coming back, you will stop trying to clean the entire room through sheer willpower. You will start fixing the system that keeps bringing it back. The seventh thing is the extra layers that make the room too hot, too stuffy, or too hot to rest in. Blankets that are too thick, too many pillows, closed curtains, and things hanging around the room. A bedroom can look very cozy during the day, but blankets that are too thick, too many pillows, closed curtains, and things hanging around the room can sometimes make it feel stuffier and heavier at night. There is no perfect temperature that works for everyone. Homes are different, climates are different, and every body is different too. But most of us recognize the feeling when a bedroom no longer feels easy to breathe in. You lie down but keep tossing and turning because the blankets are too warm. You wake up because the air feels stale. You look at the room and feel like there are too many things covering every surface, making it seem as though the room has never been allowed to rest with you. This is not advice to replace all your bedding, buy new machines, or renovate your bedroom. Start with something lighter. Open a window for a few minutes before bed when conditions allow. Remove one layer of blankets that you do not truly need. Put away decorative pillows that you always have to move before you can lie down. Do not let the chair become a place to hang too many clothes, because clothes can make a room feel full very quickly too. Try noticing one simple thing. When you walk into your bedroom, do you feel like you are entering a place to rest? Or are you entering a place with too many layers, too many tasks, and too many things that need to be dealt with? A space does not need to be filled in order to feel warm. Sometimes empty space is what makes a room easier to live in. Empty floor space means you do not have to step over things. Empty space on the nightstand lets your eyes rest. Empty space in the closet means you can put something away immediately instead of placing it on the chair. And that brings us to the final thing. The eighth thing is not an object. It is the idea that the bedroom can be a place for everything. A place to sleep, a place to work, a place to watch movies, a place to eat snacks, a place to store things you have not decided about, a place to fold clothes, a place to answer emails, a place to scroll on your phone, a place to put things you do not know where else to put. The problem is not that you use your bedroom for many things. Sometimes the home is too small, life is too busy, there is no separate room for every function, and you have to be flexible. But when every role gets brought into the bedroom without a stopping point, the room starts to lose its clearest signal. This is where I get to rest. A small corner can do many things, but it still needs to know when each thing is finished. I used to think that an organized bedroom was a bedroom with very little stuff. But what makes a bigger difference is resetting the room so the things that do not belong to rest do not stay there overnight. The image of a futon being put away in some traditional Japanese routines is a clear reminder of this. After it is used, the space is returned to a simpler state. You do not need to copy the futon. You only need to create a reset that works for your own home. Straighten the blankets. Return clothes to their proper place, and close out work before bed. You are not cleaning so the room looks nice. You are protecting the room from being assigned too many jobs. And that is the real root of everything. The phone next to your pillow is not just a phone. It is work, messages, tomorrow's schedule, and countless unfinished choices. The chair full of clothes is not just clothes. It is a system that has not created an easy path for things to go where they belong. The laptop on the desk is not just a laptop. It is a workday that has not been closed yet. The nightstand covered in things is not just clutter. It is too many things asking for a piece of your attention at the exact moment you want peace. You do not need to remove everything from the bedroom. You only need to begin protecting its main role. Here is a very small 3-step plan you can use tonight. Step 1. Choose the single biggest point of friction in your bedroom. It could be the chair covered in clothes, the nightstand, the corner of the floor near the door, or the laptop on the desk. Do not clean the whole room. Just restore the purpose of one area. Step 2. Create an easier landing place for the thing that always comes back. A laundry basket, a hook for clothes that can be worn again, a box for work items, a charging station away from the bed. It does not need to be perfect. It only needs to be more convenient than the temporary spot you are using now. Step 3. Spend 2 minutes resetting the room before bed. Choose only 2 actions. Turn off the screen and take one thing that does not belong in the bedroom out of the room. That is enough. You do not need to become a more organized person to have a more comfortable bedroom. Maybe you simply need the room to ask you to make fewer decisions at the end of the day. And when a space creates less friction, keeping it organized usually depends much less on motivation. It simply becomes easier to do. If you enjoy simple Japanese-inspired systems that help your home feel mentally lighter and easier to maintain, subscribe to The Quiet Home. The next video will help you create a less cluttered home without spending your entire weekend cleaning. You do not need an empty bedroom. You need a bedroom that knows how to make room for you to rest.